Good morning and welcome to match number 11 of FFA Masters League 31. This is a very early match for me here, 8:30, 8:20 in the morning, but I'm looking forward to it. Let me check the sound. Here we go. I hope the sound is all right. Let me know if not. We have a 15-minute delay, but then I'll be able to change it. So, this is a rookie bracket match. So, 4 newcomers in this. Starting at the top left, we have Floss, 2 times daily, our American friend, and admin of other communities. Really happy that he joined, and I know that he prepared for this map. Like he didn't know it before, so he put some effort into creep routes. And curious how he's, what he's up for. Here, xsavion from Germany, under player, and nice stats. Usually the mid spawns are not really good, but in this case, if you don't have someone on one side, at least it's better than be surrounded. And it's actually with these exact spawns, it's actually worse for Silvermane, who is the Canadian player in here. And he's basically surrounded, and that can be a bit tricky. So if I spawn as he does, I usually, like, it's easiest to go for this expansion second. So this is what I would usually go for. You can creep it as soon as your second hero is out, and like with elf at least, depends on the race, but that is definitely something I would do. And last but not least, here in the south we have M00se from Ireland. And let me see, I think they are all playing their main race. He's going for Dreadlord first. Very interesting. Not the worst map for that, actually, but depends on his creep route. There are not overly many creeps here, and some of them are not easy to creep. Particularly this one, and also your natural expansion, not that easy. So ghouls obviously a bit more squishy, so we'll see how he can keep them alive. Level 2 Dreadlord, Cloak of Shadows here. Archmage level 2, Wand of Illusion, another Dreadlord first by xsavion. He's creeping his expansion first, I like that. And late hero, was it a quest BO? I guess. So he will pop out the DK and probably the Lich right after, once he has the gold. Selling TP. And the first 2 rookie matches were really promising. Like really nice games. Ooh, this is a... Okay, he has a lot of necromancy still, so... Should be able to finish creeping. Yeah, now he's attacking with the acolyte, so... Will take some damage here, but with good micro, he should be able to take this out. Taking a lot of damage here. Now the bloodlust is over, so he's fine. DK second for blue, Lich coming for yellow now, and I assume there will be a DK second here and MK? Oh. No second hero yet, so he's lacking the lumber, and he's really lacking lumber, and not sure if he has enough lumber presence at this point. I think he should get more, and he should micro these lumber peasants to this side, I believe. Makes a huge difference also if you have a shredder to have a look, to watch out for him every now and then, just to make sure that he's not harvesting on the wrong side, because this distance is between your lumber mill and trees is making quite a difference if you're unlucky.
A player's forces are under attack.
Boneyard here, so he will go for a more common Fiend statue, Worm Rush, or more common in Ladder, not so common in FML. In FML we do see, I feel we do see more of these type of pushes recently. When I joined the community in around like 2017, 2018, it was all about Gargs, and only like 1 or 2 players played Fiends regularly, but yeah, I mean, Gargs are not that easy to play, and very squishy. And I like this creep out here by Floss, and directly going for that red spot here, taking level 4 Archmage. Will be interesting to see who's going for these red spots first. Obviously they have the best item, and they have they have the potential to drop you a Tome of Power, but it's also likely to be a contested creep camp if you creep it too late. So with human, he should be able to creep it as soon as the MK pops out. With Dreadnought, actually, I'm not that sure. He can pull one of the creeps and then surround, but I don't think that's something that's very safe. So it's easier with Lich, obviously, but it's only a level 1 Lich, so we'll see. Yeah, would help him if he had DK level 3 here. Now Dreadlord comes in. Was about to say, would have become difficult without a third hero here. Coil. Yes, so he gets it. Crown of Kings, very nice. So, either drops Crown of Kings, Tome of Power, or Tome of Power, or Mask of the Dead. I believe there's a mask on this spot. Where's the only Crown and Tome of Power? I don't know. I think there's as usual, there's the mask too. Should be. Red. Going for the aggression here. But with a level 2 Water Elemental and the MK shouldn't have a problem fighting this. And it's good that he's immediately pumping some of those riflemen. Like, he sees the Gargs. It's only 1, 2, 3 Gargs for now, but Gargs will be the key. Ghouls can eliminate these riflemen very quickly, but if you micro them well, I still think it's a good choice. Yeah, so he's exactly as he does it, like rifleman at the back, just 1 at this point, second coming in, and the ghouls are fighting the footmen, so that's a perfect fight for Floss here. Not even killing this footman. So he took out some of the peasants, but it was very painful. That's why with ghouls you don't usually want to attack, because at this point already, 10-minute mark, hero levels are too high to really have a chance with ghouls, unless you're like playing some troll strat and going like all in on ghouls. Obviously, if you have like 80 supply of ghouls or more at this point of frenzy ghouls, it's maybe another story versus some races, but that wasn't enough. Alright, Blue is getting this spot. Ooh, needs to be careful with this Dreadlord now. Tome of Power, very nice. I guess he should take it with a no, with the Dreadlord, I guess. Yeah, he's taking it now. I mean, better safe than sorry, I guess. Ooh, level up saving the Lich here. And he has a coil, so he should, yeah, he should go for it now. Could pull back the Dreadlord to not split experience. Or not waste experience here. But as I mentioned, yeah, and we see it here, it's very likely to get creep jacked here, so better creep it fast than like wasting too much time. And by now, entire map is scrapped. This is the last creep camp here, and players are ready for fighting. And Silvermane is not going for a second expansion, and neither is M00se. That obviously is, especially on a map like this, that is like, it's not huge, but it's kind of big and takes a long time from A to B. So it's very difficult to break enemy bases, and therefore you kind of need a second expansion to just have that sustain. And Floss against M00se here, and M00se having 60 supply of Gargs now, so Floss should definitely consider to TP out here. He is going for that Dreadlord, but yeah, he's passing. Ooh, nicely passing the greater healing. And I mean, not much is dying here except the foodies that he doesn't need anymore anyways, so I guess it's okay. And look at this damage by all these Gargs. Like, it's so difficult to kill ground with it, so you really need your hero damage. And nice call here by Floss to stay in this. I think he has he has a staff, but not using it. Could wake up his MK to kill this. Now he does. Ooh, the last second call here by this Archmage, who is getting closer to level 5.
A player's forces are under attack.
Ooh, and now yellow here, cross map on Floss. So not really attacking, I guess just scouting. Okay, and everyone's having a second expansion soon. May come a bit too late for M00se here. He's, after losing the 2 heroes, he's definitely behind now. And that's like we see here, that's not not really the purpose of Gargs usually in FFA. Like the purpose of Gargs is to prevent your heroes from air damage. So you or from air armies. So you just use them to have a chance against air, but they don't really do like there are only very few ground armies that you want to play Gargs against. So your heroes are supposed to be the damage dealers, and it's tricky. Like he doesn't have the levels yet, and against human with this new orb also. Undead is not really undead can look easy on on some level, but it's not really like I'd say in FFA. If you're in on the rookie level, it's definitely not an easy race to play. I'd say even it's surely the second hardest after Orc, I'd argue. So yeah, I like that call. So he's forcing the TP. So he has some more time now to get an army back, but he has 4k, so he's on 50 supply, and I think that's his only chance. So he has almost the same amount of gold, and Floss is heavily struggling on number still, so that is his only advantage in this position. And I liked him to see, yeah, he's having a sacrificial pit now. I like to see some worms. So there's only ground here, and I guess worms would be the natural counter to this army, and obviously it's easy to keep, or more easy to keep worms alive. Silvermane staying on 50 here with this one worm. Interesting. He's just scouting with his army. Levels through 332, so not too bad actually. And he's facing xsavion with 532, so obviously blue way better heroes and more gold at this point. So we do see the first push here by blue. What's green doing here? Maybe just going for this shop. Oh yeah, and this expansion was entirely unprotected. This main with these towers at the front. Definitely more difficult to break than this expansion. Yeah, it will take some time to... Oh wow, that's a lot of towers here. I'm surprised that that Silvermane is not pumping at all. Yes, okay, now he is. He has 3k gold, but he has 4 crypts too, but he's only using 2 of them. And I'm not even sure if I'd really go for if I really go for Gargs at this point in his shoes here. I mean, he has the advantage of this boneyard, and never mind. Okay, blue went for Gargs too, so I guess yeah, Gargs right call. He should use all crypts though. He's still on 45 supply, so he needs to go to 80 ASAP. Otherwise, the next attack will be very painful for him. So everyone's having armies now, and even M00se is up to 86 supply. And with this worm, this army is getting more scary here. Interesting decision by Floss to attack blue here. I'm not really sure that's the good call against the level 5 Dreadlord. You don't want to necessarily attack with gyros, and you would have like in his position and with the first fights that he had against Moose, I don't really think there was a reason for him to attack someone else than Moose in this position. Like he has access to this expansion uncontestedly, so his best like scenario is just fighting red, and red will attack him anyway. So that was a bad decision in my eyes to attack blue here. Now he needs to pump again, and he's still low on lumber. That's something he should fix. And now red streaming in at the exact right point in time with 100 supply, and yeah, that's not enough gyros at this point. Getting the Dreadlord closer to level 5 here. Yeah, and as like you want to make it to the 3-way at all costs. So in 4-way, usually no one is helping you, or no one is supposed to help either. Unless one player is super dominating and you need to team him 3-on-1 to have a chance still. There's just no reason to keep it a 4-way. And yeah, this was a very powerful push. So we see by Moose here that like these early fights were really bad, but then you just need to make one right decision with a 100 supply army, and you can, yeah, that can win you a ticket to the late game. Silvermane having a nice fight here against blue. But blue with 5k gold and taking all the expansions at the top. Blue in a decent spot, and he has these towers here, so this is very difficult to break. Dreadlord soon level 6, so looking good for blue.
A player's forces are under attack. Player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege. A player's forces are under attack.
All right, so Floss seems to be out here, and no more chance for him. It's very difficult to rebuild on this map if all players are in still. There's if one player is out, you like a quarter of the map is free usually, and then there's a lot of space to just hide buildings. But in this situation, it's very difficult to find a free spot. You can go for these spots here, but get scouted quite quickly, often. Green taverning his heroes, so I like that red is keeping some Gogs there and chasing him with heroes, so Very good call. And blue maybe even... I think blue might be over-investing into towers. Like he's getting a lot of towers, and we do see his gold count is down to 1.5k, while even Silvermane with just these 2 expansions is up to 5k. So it's a risk. I mean, these towers won't really protect you in the long run. So that's why many players don't get more than 1 or 2 towers at their expansion. Because it's just like if someone wants to kill it, they can kill it anyways. And blue is looking really strong if you just scout the map, but in fact he is not as rich as he seems to be. He's in a very good spot, especially if he gets his Dreadlord to level 6, but he in a game, in any other game, he might get teamed for this. In the rookie bracket, which this is, yeah, sometimes it's not. Sometimes stuff is not happening as you expect it to. Ooh, nice fight here. 70 supply for Silvermane and more for xsavion here, and xsavion getting the Dreadlord to level 6 and throwing down the Infernal. Yeah, so that wasn't enough supply. Ooh, losing the Lich on the way out. So, depending on the next fight here, yeah, he's losing because he was fighting with 70, so he would have had the goal to go up to 80 or even 100. I think he needed 100 supply to keep up with this Dreadlord. Like blue has not only Dreadlord on a higher level, but also Warsong battle drums. So you need even supply to fight him. Carrion Swarm is so strong, and yeah, Undead is only like the DK level 4 is not doing much in these fights, and level 2 Carrion Swarm, level 2 Nova is just way weaker than level 3 Carrion Swarm plus the same Nova, like plus level 2 Nova is a way bigger deal. So Carrion Swarm, one of the strongest non-ultimates in the game, I'd say. Floss helping out here with his Archmage while losing the rest of his buildings. So m00se, after struggling early game, now he's looking very solidly here. He is on 100 supply, so that's something that happens very often to rather unexperienced players, that they are on 100 supply, they win their fight, but then they never, like, he's taking all these expansions, but he's not dropping supply, and we will see if he will use his army at some point, because he's in high upkeep, he's losing so much gold at this point, so he should definitely consider to take another fight soon. Blue would be the obvious choice here, and I like that he's scouting, so blue is changing aggression here. And let's see. So it's an open game for sure. Red is seeing blue, so red is going for blue now, which I really like. So that's exactly the fight he should take. Using the heal scroll nicely, sleeping the Dreadlord, so well done by red. Yeah, this was a domination. Bad for him, only negative thing for him that he's still 96 supply, so he only lost like 3 to 4 supply. while blue is on 50 now, and 50 on 5 mines is very, very dangerous for the other players. So he will get up to 10, even 15k in no time. Like you see his gold. He's basically, how long does it take him to get 100? I'd say 5 seconds. If 100 gold every 5 seconds. So yeah, this is a good call here by red. You need to force blue to pump units. You can't allow him to be on 80, and that's something that happens very regularly in these in these matches and also in ladder matches, that people just don't like. They don't play FFA enough to have a feeling for the supply that someone else has, and for the dangerousness of a 50 supply, of enemies that just hoard on 50 supply. Because eventually, yeah, like you don't like, no matter what micro advantage you have, no matter how good of an army composition you have, at some point you can win. You can win a game if you're up against 3 times your gold, unless that other player is really throwing the game.
A player's forces are under attack.
And blue is really committed to stay on 50 here. He will lose all these expansions for it, and I'm not sure that's the right call. He has the level, so there is a risk that he's just burning gold if he goes for 100. But like, you don't want to just lose all these expansions, and he's up against yellow too now, and yellow is also 100 supply. So yeah, he definitely needs an army, and they may think that he's stronger than he really is. So. And levels are getting better here for all players. Red in particular, like this one fight was helping him a lot. Dreadlord level 6.5, 5.5, DK 4 Lich, so he has the best levels now. Again, xsavion, as I just mentioned, he's not able to lose his supply, and you don't really want to team someone, and you generally don't want to team someone on 100 supply. Nice carrion swarms here, yeah. Ooh, and he needs to pull back his... losing the Dreadlord, he needs to pull back his Gargs. Try to get away. And he has only 4 crypts, 5 crypts, so... if you're up against 2 undeads, I guess you probably want like at least 7 to 9 crypts. At least in a state with all these expansions where you... And if you're committed to stay on 50, I guess you need way more crypts. Ooh, last second invul here. I like that Floss is still in game with his level 5 Archmage. And we will see if yellow is making the right call here to... It was definitely a good call to take these fights and get some levels, so that was a good call. But I'm not actually convinced that he can take a one-on-one against red at this point. So red is having decent levels. He has way more expansions. Apparently that takes some of his supply away from this army. Like, he has 25 acolytes. Oh no, he has not. He stopped mining in his main, so he has still... Okay, he has like 20 supply in acolytes, roughly. Which yellow has not. Yellow has a bit less. So I'd say it's a 10 supply difference roughly in army, but with his levels, red should be able to keep the upper hand. And they're not really chatting much, so blue might be losing everything here. Yeah, saving an acolyte, very important now. He has the goal to rebuild. Yeah, and green is a pain in the ass, so being red, like, I think he needs to finish Floss ASAP, because even if it's only one archmage here and a couple of buildings, it's just not fun to have this archmage roaming around and killing your stuff. So, yeah, should just send some Gargs maybe, I guess. Yeah, he's killing this farm now, so there's not much left really except these 3 buildings. And I wonder if red has scouted the the state of blue. Nah, I'm afraid Floss will be last in scores, especially since they are. Yeah, like red doesn't know maybe, and I mean maybe he doesn't want to take the risk, but oh, he's getting slapped before. Oh, and he's missing the carrion swarm. So that was not a good start here for yellow. For red. He's losing this fight, I think. Better got micro by yellow, but this one was way better. So I guess both players will eventually lose all their air units. Yeah, both players are TPing out. DK low. Moves up down to 51 supply, so this is his opportunity to go down to 50 in theory. And I think there was a short, well, I think his best chance to win this game for yellow would have been for red would have been to just drop down to 80 supply and hoard some gold while yellow was finishing blue. It did not seem as if yellow was willing to stop killing blue, so red could have just hoarded mass gold, attacked or killed off Floss, then made sure that blue is not rebuilding here at the top, and then I think he would have had the upper hand easily against yellow just on 1.6k, while he would have gone up to, I guess, 10-15k quickly with all these expansions. I'm really surprised that he's not taking care of this this massive human army here in the north. Okay. Interesting call here by yellow at this point to continue with blue. Yeah, now green is going to die here. Oh, using the inverse potion, no dust of appearance, but he has no peasants either, I guess. So once these buildings die, he will be out. And yeah, he is chasing this footman, and it's actually the level 6 for the DK. So getting level 3 aura, very nice. Not killing. Okay, now he's. Yeah, and big mistake here by M00se to be on 90 supply while just finishing off the human. It's losing him so much gold. Like he's losing, I'd say, how much gold is it? Per second, roughly 20 gold per second he's losing. Yeah, roughly. So, I think he's not really utilizing his expansions. So. Yeah, I think it would have been easier. Yeah, I mean, since we have the 15-minute delay, so yeah, Floss will join the Twitch chat. So I think he played well, played really well early on, but then I think it took him too long to... first of all, like, lumber management was a main concern. Like, he was low on lumber all game, so that prevented him from getting up enough production buildings. So you need to fix your lumber. It can take like 15 minutes to fix it. And with the lumber, I think against undead, especially with the Dreadlord first, Carrion Swarm is way too strong against gyros. So gyros generally, I think, unless you're extremely experienced, is I think a rough choice, because you like a single mistake will instantly, or can lose you the game with gyros if they just die too quickly, and they are more costly than they have before. So I personally think it would have been easier in this case to play tanks, and Red had a few expansions only. Red had one expansion, so I think with the additional expos, Floss could have easily won some time by just pumping out like 3-4 tanks and sending them to the main, to the expo. I think that would have helped him to get the time to get an entire army up and get the lumber. So that would have been, I think, a good call. And so that was, I think, 3 mistakes. Lumber management was one. Then not getting gyros, maybe arguably not the right call, but at least a difficult call against level 5 Dreadlord. And the third mistake was surely to attack blue and lose the first bunch of gyros and end the night against blue. Nice fight here. Red against yellow. Ooh, okay. This time yellow needs to TP out earlier, and good fight for red, who is on 82 supply again. And red has a very good chance here, it seems. Blue is still harassing yellow, so not looking good for yellow. He is having his last army out, and red still on 4k gold. Yeah, what I was about to say, I think this attack, there was no reason, if you have one enemy early on that you're actively fighting, even 2 times in this case, you don't want to switch aggression to someone else and risk losing your army as Floss did. So I think he just needed his army and attack red before red had the time to go 100 supply. And if you see your enemy being 100 supply, you need to be 100 supply too, unless you have a huge hero level advantage. So that was a main. These are the main 3 mistakes that Floss made. And I wonder why yellow is still on blue. It did not seem to go too well for him against red, so I'm not sure why he's... I mean, he has his Dreadlord on level 6 now, but he will have a very hard time against red, so... Yeah, so that's not bad manner. by blue. It's actually, I think, interesting call here by yellow. I mean, in his position, I would hope for blue to survive and rebuild, and not for him to leave, because, yeah, and blue is right. Like, there's just no way you can win this without blue. I mean, at this point it's over anyway, so with 4k gold, 96 supply, there's just not much yellow can do, and blue is pretty dead. Well, pretty dead, he's completely dead. No. Yeah, yellow is not playing for win here. I think he's heavily underestimating the gold of red. And red actually could have way more gold if he had not been on 100 supply all the time. And I mean, he still is on 100 supply while not. I think at this point it's okay. Or he doesn't know for sure how much gold yellow has, so it's a good call here to be on 100 now, but he was on 100 supply for way too long. I think he could have had at least 10k now at this point, if he had dropped at some point. So if he wins the next fight, I think it's going to be his game to win. I mean, anything can happen in the rookie bracket, I guess, but this is looking really good for red here. Not mismicroing the Gargs. Dreadlord low on mana here, so not winning this fight as convincingly, but still, like, we see what happens here. And blue is yeah, losing the Dreadlord, so that's it. And yeah, 100 gold for yellow against 4.7k and still mining red. So very fun game, and fortunately not a long one, since it's like early morning and I got to start working. But really enjoyed this. The rookie bracket has been really fun so far, and yeah, I hope the players are enjoying it too. And FFA can be very frustrating early on, because you like sometimes it feels as if all enemies are just rolling over you, and some of the mistakes are more like in 101. I guess it's more. It appears to be a closer fight most of the time, or closer battle, while in FFA it just seems sometimes that there was no chance you could have won. But if you play some weeks, month, it's usually quite easy to get some FFA sense, and if you follow some of the basics, then you should be in a decent spot. Yeah, 89 gold here for yellow, 197, 3 supply for blue, and yellow is still chasing blue. I wonder who has a second score. The scoring structure in FML, at least this season, is 20 points for the winner, 12 points and for rank 2, based on the endgame scores. Place 2 and 3 get 12 points each, and 10 points for last place. And the top score, or player with the top score, gets 3 points on top. So the winner gets 23 points, which with the top score, and I believe m00se will have top score in this game. Probably followed by blue, and then yellow, and then Floss. If you're defeated early, you're almost always leaving the game with 10 points. Yeah, and this game is as over as it gets. 60 viewers, wow. That's the upside of the coronavirus. So many people are just online and checking out streams, so Like, I would rather go with 0 viewers and without the coronavirus, obviously, but still it's nice to have so many people following the scene. And while Reforged was a bummer quality-wise, I'd argue maybe the only advantage of Reforged, that many players returned to the game, and many players joined the community. And this FML season had more players than all the previous 5 ones, I think. So really happy to see that. We have 3 grids in this season. So we have a standard grid with experienced FFA players where you can chat as usual, and we have a no chat grid this season. The first game in that was a big disappointment. But the second and third one really good. And congrats to M00se from where is he from? Where's M00se from? Is he from Ireland? I think, yeah, he was the one from Ireland. Maybe the first Irish player to ever win an FML game. So congrats to him. I think with some, despite of his struggle very early game, he played it very well. Was a 100 player, but too long maybe. But we see here eventually he made the right calls, like who to attack, and I think that's a big part of winning games. Here we see 11 hero kills. So. Gold mined, not so much more, and we do see how much gold he lost to upkeep. So actually Silvermane and xsavion had much more gold to work with, but they also lost much more gold against each other, apparently. So Silvermane needed to spend a lot of gold to keep alive against xsavion, and then xsavion was just under too heavy pressure after losing this one fight on his main base. So as we see right here, like even with way less gold, less gold to actively work with, you can win a game if you just use your army in the right way. M00se just lost 1 fight early game and then 1 fight against yellow at the bottom mid expansion. These were the only fights he lost. All other fights he won. So he kept his army and his army alive and was able to preserve gold with that. So congrats, and